Eldlich with the Sacred Beast. We have some Exosister action and even more Egyptian gods. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out more on us. Sending 3 of a type of card that, you can just refund the cost of being able to trigger banish them. It's some of the funniest stuff that the Sacred Beast field spell allows you access to. Now, what happens when the angry golden boy wants to go ahead and call up and wants to be part of the squadron here? Well, that's something that we can actually make happen, because Golden Lord has naturalized synergy with this deck being a level 10 monster, which is kind of cool, actually. The Sacred Beast, you're not going to be able to, fuse Dumbledore into it, unfortunately, but I feel like that's just fine. It's part of the gimmick that a deck like this actually tries to do. Now, I feel like there would be some changes I'd want to make to this. And I think that's fine, all things considered, because, not every variant is going to be as powerful as the next, but this is techie. Next up, we have probably one of the most standardized Exosister lists that I've seen in the course of the meta. Now, you got to remember, these Exosister lists, they're trying to go second now. You kind of just have to let the Cool Tune player do everything they want to do and hope that you're not going to be held up at the mercy of, the deck's end board, which can be a little bit challenging considering all of the BS that deck is capable of doing. So you have the Regekis, the Dark Rulers, and you're also starting to see the Book of Eclipse show up. Book of Eclipse has been a great card going into this meta that players have really been clutching onto. Being able to immediately provide yourself a solution to monsters on the field at really no cost, and basically turning off everything that a Cold Tune player might have access to, is really strong. Also, worst case, it eats a targeted negate from the opponent, but then, we go blasting with this incredibly broken card. Next up, we have the power of the Egyptian gods. And I gotta tell you, man, I love that the OCG gets so creative with these decks. First of all, there's no Herakti in here, which is kind of a different style of deck, to say the least. I know players are kind of like, well, do we need Herakti? If your deck can get access to Herakti, you may as well have a built-in win condition to the deck. But outside of that, what happens when, we just need to roll through the Egyptian gods and be able to kind of put that pressure on the opponent to try to win the game? That's where these concoctions come in. I do see we are playing the Shinkyojin in here. It allows you just to get these gods rotated out of your hand to be able to get some extra draws. So being able to sacrifice a god to generate some extra advantage, there's a reason why, you choose to play these. Also, this card's not restricted to once per turn like a lot of this other era's draw cards, which is kind of interesting. I might want to consider multiples of that. Next up, we get to see some Spriggan fun. There's been a lot of Spriggans list just kind of chilling in the background recently. And honestly, this deck is kind of cool. Obviously, it naturally has access to, Regulus, because obviously, Merrymaker into Champion Sargass has always just been one of the easiest things that you can do. And it's kind of like the generic Yu-Gi-Oh card problem, right? 2 level 4s suddenly get you access into Sargass, which basically just loads up the entire play line for what you want to be seeing with this deck, which is naturally fine. It just kind of depends on where your comboage is going and kind of where, the deck wants to see itself going. You do get access to Tally-Ho Spriggans, which is also an incredibly great support card here, nonetheless. But I like this. I like that we have all of these different little combo lines built into the deck just to see some madness. Next up here, we have Cyber Dragons. Now, this list was made with the intent to basically have a Zane Truesdale style of deck. What is the full potential that we can have with a modern era Zane deck? Well, a lot, actually. Obviously, Cyber Dragon Core and Cyber Dragon are still going to be the driver's seats, but this build is trying some of the little funnier things. We're having access to Cyber Barrier Dragon, which, if you remember, you did have to use the little reflection techniques to kind of rotate into these, which I guess is kind of cool, to say the least. I see we're also playing the Cyber Pharos in here as well. So definitely a different style of deck today, where, you're still getting access to a lot of the generic good stuff, but you're getting to feel an anime deck out. And the fact that, you know, we still get to see some of these anime decks actually being modernized, I think is really, really cool. Next up is Crystron Trains. Now, first of all, this is not a new concept. This is something that's been popping up for a little while that people just like to experiment around on. You know, it kind of comes down to the idea of, you know, how much advantage can we kind of get with this package to be able to do its thing. I also see, you know, we have the Machina Citadel in here being one of those big boss monster solutions, but also, you know, Scrap Recycler, going to be a very, very good card for you now because of the deck we're playing. Yes, we do get to do the Infernal Striker Fighter, or Strike Fighter. This being DSF at home is really, really good. Outside of that, you do have droplets, which look like a very good solution, obviously, you know. Triple exceptional schedule, only 2 urgent. I think that this is also fine, too. Urgent's just not something that you want to bulk down on now, especially, like, you know, given the current meta trends. At least, you know, you have to see this to make this, you know, work. Next up here, we have the one duelist that continues to play the Mach 3 core with the triple Metal Slave. I always love seeing the little ideas that this duelist is throwing together, because there's no reason why they should be making this work. But gosh darn it, man, every single time I get to see this little MK3 with the Metal Slaves, it's always hilarious to me. And you know, they run this through their local environment every single week. And for some reason, it always just works out very, very cutely. And I'd consider that a decent level of innovation, right? Because if you can play little stupid tech choices like this, and, you know, your deck is just getting rewarded for establishing, you know, this huge monster on the field, you know, okay. Why not, right? Outside of that, I mean, still obviously standard branded shenanigans for this deck. Next up is Mind Shuffle with the Melfi deck. Oh my god, we're here now. You cannot special summon the turn you activate this card except for Melfi monsters. Well, that's not a problem, right? Because what if, in theory, we do, you know, our normal summon on the Celtic Sage, we go through this little line, and then we set up this combo into the opponent's turn. You know, how is that going on? Obviously, you know, like, there's funny things in here, like Wild Nature's Release, but the realistic part of the situation is Melfi Statue Game combined with this package is just going to give you some very, very large, you know, rotations and interruptions on the opponent's turn. And your opponent's just going to be like, I really hate this game sometimes. So I think maybe there is something to the idea of having this built into the deck. Next up here, yes, the Flame Swordsman. You know, and it saddens me too, because this is basically just an FTK, right? Like, your job is to be able to get to certain said piece, Zena no Sukunahime, to get whatever piece that you're going to need in rotation. And then we start the beat sticks of Hydra Drive into Hydra Drive into Hydra Drive. And because we have access to the Black Garden, you know, this is, I know people want to see Isolde come back. They want this card to be playable. But the reality of the situation is, how many different FTKs do you have to particularly sit through to realize, you know, maybe we don't want to see this card coming back right now? Just some food for thought. Very, very, very interesting. Also, Reaper-Daucus for modification and Electromite are also some of the great enablers that allow a deck like this to actually thrive within the current scene. And then, of course, I told you guys we had some more of this Metal Slave deck. Anytime you can just pack in some of these, you know, just go to town, right? Yeah, as long as you're finding the big guys and you're slamming them all on the field, you're going to have a great time. But also, you know, what do we want? Some defensive options with the, you know, Water Enchanter stuff. I don't know, man. Whoever comes up with the inclusion of the BES monsters just casually being thrown into some of these decks, it works somehow. And you know what? I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that we have workability. And you know what? That's good enough by me. So what do you guys think about today's interesting little ideas? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.